For years I thought my tight hip was actually probably due to tight hip flexors, maybe some weakness, and I spent a long time, many years, doing exercises that really should have resolved the problem, but they didn't. It doesn't matter whether they were the stretches or the strengthening exercises or yoga postures, whatever it was I was doing. It might have felt better for a little while, but overall, as time went on, it was becoming like more tight, stiffer, more painful, and in fact the pain was moving to my other hip, and I was getting issues with shoulder and all sorts of things that happened. So what I realised was, when I came into contact with clinical somatics and the idea that your nervous system is holding patterns of tension that have built up over time due to stress and injury and repetition, all of which related to me in my situation, I realised that actually the answer is not going to be more force. It's not going to be stretching. It's not going to be trying to engage muscles when I can't actually control them. I can't actually feel them. This is the problem I was having with some of the corrective exercises, where, you know, I couldn't feel my glutes to engage them, and anything I tried to do would just it would just tighten everything up, and it was just uncomfortable, and I just couldn't move beyond it. So what I did instead was, thanks to clinical somatics, when I started to practice this, was free up some of the tension that was a habit due to pulling away from pain was one thing, tightening up in response to pain, but also repetitive activities such as playing my guitar, you know, would pull me into a bit of a twist. It was going into that habit of tightening. And also my lower back was part of this pattern, which I didn't really know, actually. I didn't know my lower back was tight. It wasn't painful most of the time. Sometimes it would be a bit niggly. But the whole thing was an actual pattern that I had created, my nervous system had created over time. And I want to show you today a simple somatic exercise, a pandiculation, which is a contraction, conscious contraction, followed by a controlled release, followed by complete rest, which is what actually resets the activity of the muscles at the brain level. And it's a very subtle way to start changing some of these patterns. So I'm hoping that you'll find this useful for yourself, because, you know, let's face it, most of us have got tight backs, and you probably also have got tight hips, hip flexors as well. And you may find that those muscles, opposing muscle groups, are both tight, in which case it creates like almost like a brace, but it creates rigidity around the centre of the body, which restricts movement of joints, which has a knock-on effect on the whole system. So think about this as something that you can do first before you do anything else, and as a way to start to unravel some of those holding habits. And it's a great way to release stress as well, and all of the holding tension that comes with living in this world. So we're going to do this exercise on the floor, and then we're focusing on the front of the body in terms of the hip flexors. That's the muscles which lift the leg up, and the lower back muscles which drive us forward. Okay, let's get started. Come to lie down on your back. Now, stretch out your legs and your arms and rest for a moment, just to check in to begin with. This works best when you begin to notice what's there before you start, and look at it again afterwards to see what's different. That's how your brain learns. What does it feel like at the beginning, and what does it feel like at the end? So spend a moment or two noticing the weight of your hips and your pelvis, and whether or not you feel heavier on one side. Notice also how your shoulder blades rest on the floor, and whether you're flat on the shoulder blades, or again you're pulled off a little bit to one side. And over time, when you do this, you'll start to recognize a pattern. And for me, I've got a very clear pattern of heavier here. This right shoulder's heavier. My head turns a little bit to the left as my left shoulder pulls up a little bit. So I'm hoping once I've done this that will start to even out and I'll be more balanced. Notice the arch of your lower back. Just feel how pulled away from the floor your back feels. And maybe it feels more arched on one side than the other. Notice any other tension that comes to your awareness. And then we'll bend the knees and put the feet flat. So remember, this is a somatic exercise. That means a whole point of doing this is about what we feel and sense. It's not about the doing, it's about feeling. So you're going to need to go slowly. First of all, notice your breathing. Let your belly rise as you breathe in and fall as you breathe out. Now the first part of the pattern is the action reflex. That's the reflex that drives us forwards. It tightens the back muscles. And this is where the pattern gets habituated in the body, the lower back. So you're going to breathe in and arch the lower back away from the floor. You're creating tension in these muscles either side of your spine, your lower back, and then you're going to deliberately relax them. You're not tightening your abdominals, you're not doing anything else, you're just simply relaxing your back and coming back to what feels like neutral for you. So that's the first part of the contraction. So we'll do it again. Breathe in and arch your back. Notice how you press your pelvis down towards your tailbone, your back lifts up, and then you're going to undo that slowly by relaxing consciously until you feel like you've switched your back muscles off completely. And take a breath. Now we're going to go into that same movement by rolling the pelvis forwards, not quite all the way, just a little bit. Just tip forwards in your pelvis and pause. Now go to your right side and imagine that you're pulling your right foot off a magnet. It's very strong and you're pulling against it and you're increasing the tension in the front of your hip as you do that. Build up the tension here in the front of your hip and then very slowly, consciously release that tension. Continue until you've fully released and then take a breath and relax completely. Now for me, because this has a tendency to tighten up very easily, it takes a while for me to feel when it's relaxed and I can go again. So then when I go again, I breathe in, arching the back, and I'm doing that consciously. So now I'm going to start to feel the pull in my lower back muscles, and now I'm going to pull my foot off an imaginary magnet on this right side and create tension around my hip, which I can then consciously release. And I'm releasing my back at the same time. Completely let go. And I start to feel how my shoulders want to move a bit, my head wants to reposition, other things start to let go. And then I'll do it one more time. I'm going to breathe in and arch. Just a little bit of a tilt in the pelvis. Take the weight out of my right foot, increase tension in front of my hip, and make sure that I can feel tension in my back. So that's the pattern, that's the habit a holding of the back and a holding of the hips at the front. Now I'm going to let go of both. Completely relaxing the hip and the back. It takes all my concentration to do that. My head is moving, my neck's repositioning. There's a little shaking going on. I don't have full control of that yet. I'll leave that for now and then slide the leg out lazily. So when I slide the leg out, I'm going to be careful not to tighten up here again. I want to continue the release of my hip as I straighten out my leg. Right, and I'm keeping my back relaxed as I do that. And I'm continuing to relax my back and the front of my hip as I let my leg relax out. I'm going to take a breath or two. And I'm going to let the left leg extend. And I take a moment here now just to check in and feel. And that's completely shifted the balance in my pelvis. I now feel more even across the two. And it's also changed the weight across my shoulders. And I can feel also my head is repositioned slightly as well. So this is what happens when you address the pattern and not just the muscle. Okay, you're actually unwinding the whole thing. So that's just the right side. You can try it and then obviously repeat on the other side. And then come up and see how you feel, see what it feels like to walk around when you've done that. So can you see how it's not just about one particular muscle, it's about the pattern behind the tension. And it's about the nervous system holding tension because it's been habituated due to stress responses, action, tightening of back muscles over time, becoming a little bit shorter, a little bit tighter. And the same with the front, the hip flexors, the legs pulling in. Again, due to habituation of stress responses, more perhaps emotional stuff, or in response to injury. If you have pain, you'll probably be contracting those muscles a little bit in protection. So we've addressed the pattern that contracts the back, the lower back, and the hip flexors, and they kind of pull tug of war against each other. And that keeps the centre of the body, the pelvis, the lower back locked a little bit. And at our pandiculation that we did to release that is almost like softening the ropes, or the people of the tug of war just kind of sighing and giving up. And that's the feeling we want in the muscles, that release. Okay, and we do that through the pandiculation, which is conscious contraction, controlled release, and complete rest at the end to let everything go so the brain can integrate that as new information about your muscles. And when you repeat this and you start to get a bit more control over it, you feel a bit more of what you're doing, you'll find you can do that anytime. It'll be there in your nervous system and you'll have a choice. Do I want to grip and hold on, or can I let that go and release and relax? That took me a while to do for my own situation, because I'd been gripping in that hip for years and years and years, and it was involuntary and I didn't really know I was doing it, except for I knew it was tight, but I didn't know about the pattern, and that was the key for me. Releasing that hip, releasing the back at the same time. And now it's made lots of other things. From just doing this, it's made a lot of other things possible. And it has opened up all sorts of other movements that I couldn't do before, I couldn't control before. And everything over time then becomes more coordinated, less restrictive, and just feeling more free. And that grows. So keep practicing it, and you'll find that that ease becomes better and better and better. And because it's learning for your nervous system, you can continue to learn, and that's the beauty of it, and that's what you should do, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do. So to use this exercise and try it every day for a period of time and see the difference that it makes to you. Okay, that's all from me here then. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.